Welcome to A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph, yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are here to unveil yet another series.
Got to Get Out.
Yeah, we will be talking about the new game show that has just arrived on the scene, the first season.
Yes, season 1. All episodes dropped, but today we will be covering episode 1 and the cast.
Yeah, we've seen they have kind of followed the old-fashioned streaming service strategy of just dumping everything out where everyone could binge it in one night, but we will go episode by episode.
But no cheating.
Yeah, we'll go one by one each week and see what happens.
Yeah, we are not looking at spoilers, so we will be genuinely shocked each episode as to what the outcome is.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a true surprise. Yeah, so far it's been pretty good.
So this show involves 20 participants that live in a mansion for 10 days with each other, and they are all competing for a cash prize. And the cash amount increases by $1 each second that everyone's left in the game. So they will be competing in physical and mental challenges throughout the show, and that will also add money to the big pot. And up to $1 million is at stake here.
Yeah, so they have a big giant pot, and it's if someone can get out of the house and escape the house and get the money, then they take that portion of the $1 million.
Well, they can split the money or they can steal it all for themselves.
Yeah, so they can kind of form alliances. I mean, the concept is kind of, I actually found it quite interesting. So they can form alliances with people if they want to help them escape. They can split that loot with each other if they want at that given moment in time. So the way they can get out of the house is through designated exits that have been set up. They're not allowed to just get out of the house any which way they want to.
There's 10 locked exits.
Yes, and they're through different windows or doors through the house, and
which is multi-level.
Yeah, I mean this house. This is a multi-million-dollar mansion that they're staying at. I mean this place is huge, but and at certain money, since they make a joke about this, time is money because they don't even have access to clocks in this. It's purely the only clock they have is the money ticker. So when the money ticker strikes a certain dollar amount, these locks in certain locations will be unlocked, and certain people get access to when these exits will unlock through the ticker machine.
Right. So the exits will go from red to green, meaning time to get out. But only one person knows when that dollar amount time is for them to plan their escape or not.
Yes. Or someone else they could camp out by one of the locks, and hypothetically wait till it turns green, potentially, and they could steal the person who knows about that lock being unlocked. They could hijack their ability to escape.
There's the exact dollar amount that you need to know as well. So.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're not going to have many people just standing by one exit, but they could try to gather information or et cetera or whatever. It's not just locked to that one person who knows about that exit to be able to escape.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to escape unless they have the right to escape.
Right, when they know about it, yes, yeah.
So the most they could do is catch somebody trying to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go over the ticker tape machine too as we go through this week's episode, our first episode. But first, let's go over who is in our house. We have 20 people total, and 10 of these people are reality stars in some way, shape, or form. And then 10 of them are everyday job holders.
Yeah, so I think the strategy here was, which was probably a good marketing strategy, was you had 10 kind of more well-known people of different audiences and demographics that kind of follow them, and then they all get lumped into this, and then you kind of have 10 people who are, anons in the real world, so to speak. So you kind of have this mix of, which is kind of a neat idea. So
It is neat. I thought it was a different way to approach this game, or to approach a TV show.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a good strategy because it helps. It's a way to get a little more word out there about the show, especially because you'll have the celebrities, I guess you'd call them. I mean, they're just a little bit more well-known people than the other people, but they're reaching out to their audience to let them know about the show, and especially since it's the first season, they've really got to try to make a name for them, and it's a very unique. I don't know if any other game shows really made a kind of concept like this. To me, it seems quite unique. So,
Yes.
which is nice. It's refreshing. It's not like a play on anything at least that I've seen before. So,
and this is our reality TV show that we're covering that doesn't have to do with finding love.
yeah, that's definitely a nice mix up.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What a difference.
Finding love of money.
Oh.
It's just not
like I Love Money.
A person
I
at
wonder
the end
if
of
they
the show.
took the idea from I Love Money.
Okay, plenty of game shows, but
I Love Money took people from different shows and put them together to fight for the big pot.
yeah, well, the Love series, not outside
that's
of that.
true. That's true.
This is a much broader pool of people to have on the show.
Comment below if you have ever seen I Love Money.
Yes.
Have you seen
Yes. I have been required to see
it?
it.
Wow. All right, let's go over our cast here. So first we have Cynthia, and she is from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I've never seen The Real Housewives, so I don't know any of those people.
I know there's a bunch of different cities that they've all spawned in now, but no, I'm not familiar with any of these as well.
Okay, next we have Demi from The Bachelor.
Yeah, did you see this season? I did not.
No,
so.
I've never seen her before.
Oh.
She's new to me. And we have Val from Dancing with the Stars. We know him. We watch Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, yeah, that's a face I know. So.
Familiar face.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was really interesting. Let's throw one person from Dancing with the Stars on here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like that. I mean, you'll get to it, but there's a couple other people and like
their one
industry,
off, yeah.
right? Yeah, that's just a one-off from it. So.
We have Claire from The Bachelor.
And some of these too, The Bachelor, it's from Bachelor in Paradise. Not just.
Well, this was like where my questions started to pile up. Where do the people from Bachelor in Paradise come from? Bachelor shows, right?
Do they all come from?
That was my question in my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm guessing.
I figured maybe they might sprinkle a person or two who's not from.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess just I wonder why they would pick Bachelor in Paradise over Bachelor.
Maybe that's what they were
more known for. Or
the latest in.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be that because that would come after. But
oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh.
We have Rashad, who is a former NFL running back, which this doesn't count as reality.
Yeah, I mean, this
but they lumped him in with reality.
Well, this is why they're. I mean, they're not. There's like one or two other people who didn't come back from a reality background. I wasn't familiar with which team he was from originally.
New York Giants.
Yes, yeah, we've
Now we looked
discovered that now, but yeah.
Next, we have Susan from The Golden Bachelor.
Yes, and that's a familiar face as well, since we have seen that, and that was not too long ago.
I was very excited to see her as a member of this cast because she was quite a memorable character on The Golden Bachelor.
Yeah, yeah, she was the very fun, outgoing, and whatnot. So yeah, this seems like a good place for her, and
Yes.
yeah, she's still looking great.
Yeah. Susan. And we have Omarosa, who's from The Apprentice.
And I was not familiar with this.
Which I can't believe this because she was such a powerhouse early 2000s TV.
Yeah, I did not watch much television in the early 2000s.
Okay. Were you living under a rock?
I was studious.
You should have studied Omarosa and her power moves.
I was outside or video games.
Yeah, and guess what? You watched I Love New York with me, and you just magically forgot the episode that Omarosa came on. And she taught New York's gentlemen about building a plan for their future. So,
A man in finance.
yeah, it was very similar to that episode, actually. It was all the men had to show like their net worth, like how they could support New York, what their life's dreams and plans were, business plans.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember that part of it, but I just don't remember her.
You don't remember
leading it.
Omarosa being the special guest and she spun around in her chair and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's Omarosa. She's here.
No. I'm sorry.
She was like a big intimidating character to the men.
Yeah,
Well,
especially Pootie.
yeah. Do you remember that? That was the episode he went flying down the
Yes,
stairs
yes. Yeah,
and he hyperventilated.
total breakdown.
Yeah, he said, here's my plan. I'm broke.
Yeah.
I have a car note. They tried to take my car. What else did he say?
All right.
Okay, well, remember, didn't he try to steal 12 packs plan? Or 12
Someone's
packs
plan. I
vision
don't
board?
know. Somebody's. I don't remember who.
Yeah. Well, then they had to call the ambulance for him and he went skyrocketing down the steps. So, but yeah, Omarosa, excited to see where she goes in this journey. So, next we have Spencer, who is from The Hills. And I, of course, knew who Spencer was because I watched Laguna Beach, then The Hills.
Yeah, you had to tell me who this person was because I did not know.
I showed you him on TikTok before the series. So.
Yes, yeah. I mean, very recently I've learned who he is, but I was not aware of where he came from. So
It was really fun to see him like 20 years later on another show. So, and we have Kim, who's from The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
yeah, another one from Housewives.
So our other folks, we have Jill, who is a digital creator. We have Lindsay, who is model and Miss Earth 2020. We have Yane, who's a TikTok influencer. Shane is next, and he's an MMA fighter. We have Steven, who's from Big Brother Canada. And we have Steve, who's a crime TV host. So 2 Steves / Stevens.
And 2 Athenas.
That's right. And we have Nick, who is a board game designer. We'll learn more about him here in a moment. We have Stein, who's an adventure producer. We have Rob, who is from the Squid Game show. And our first Athena, who's a firefighter. And Athena, who's from The Bachelor, Greece. And those are our folks.
Yeah, so we have a good medley of people who have already made their name and people who are aspiring to maybe get their name out there.
So we open up seeing our folks in the house, and first we see Spencer and we learn he is not too concerned about his competition. He's pretty confident. And we see Steve calling Spencer a villain. And then we learned a little bit more about Steve. He says that he wrote for magazines about reality TV stars. So while he wasn't on reality TV, he understands the mindset of those that were.
Yeah, so he mentions that, I guess from his previous shows, that Steve or Spencer's always played a more villainous role or just villain character in each of his things, which Spencer's knows that he's kind of done that and he's not afraid or bothered to play that role. So he's not here to make friends. He's here to win as much money as possible. So
Yeah, Spencer seems really serious about keeping his mind on the game 100%.
yeah, that, and he's obsessed with his wife as he wears her shirt around the house.
Okay, this was
constantly.
really cool that he was wearing his Heidi shirt, promoting his wife's music, being a big supporter, showing his love.
Yeah.
So we go into Omarosa a little bit and we learn that she thinks she'll start scheming for the money when the amount at least hits 250K, but not before then. We also see in the beginning Steve H pretends to form these alliances with other people. And then we later learn he was just pretending and he backstabs them.
Yeah. I mean, you already see this whole concept too is very interesting because one of the things to mention as well is that if no contestant steals any of the money, there's 20 of them, and at the end of the show, they would all split the $1 million. So they'd all get 50K each. So it almost is to this concept of kind of Lord of the Flies. Could they actually just stay the whole time and, split the money equally? Or, does greed play a part and someone try to, or a group of people try to take more and for themselves than for the whole group? But so you see people starting to kind of build alliances and just feel around and see, is it worth it? Two, if you do that, then you're going to need the money pot to be quite high because obviously you've got to split that. So if you're only getting 120, that's 60, K each. So that's only 10 more than what you'd get potentially at the end. But so yeah, you're already seeing some of these, but then the other concept is that whoever gets away, they're the one who would, with an accomplice, decide to give the money. I think they could even also too tell them, hey, well, I'll split this money with you if you let me get away. And then they could, in reality, too, get away and then actually backstab them and not even give the money.
I wonder if they make a verbal agreement, do they have to stick to it?
I don't think so.
All right, that would be pretty
Sure, it'd be
low.
below, but it's a whole.
Well, that was the concept of the trust. Remember that show?
Yeah, it's very similar to that as well. It's got some elements, I would say, from kind of different game shows, and they've kind of formulated their own with this. But yeah, it's got kind of a trust factor built into it.
So the pot is at 100K, and we get to see the ticker tape machine in action. So each of the 20 individuals go up and get a message from the machine, and only 4 people at random receive an exit strategy. And these 4 people in our first episode are Rob, Doodles, Kim, and Steve.
Yeah, and Doodles is also AKA Nick. He calls himself Doodles. Or initially, he introduces himself as Doodles to the other contestants because that's part of his strategy in trying to obtain more of the money.
Yes. a key part, but there's also another key part.
Yeah, he also mentions that he's a toy designer originally, but he's actually a game developer.
And
And
why did he hide this?
I mean, mainly to just not have people suspect him, especially, I guess, because I mean, I think he was a little bit more in his head about thinking of it because he's a game developer. People might think he's more, well, he'd definitely be strategy based or maybe a potential threat. So he wants to play off or come off a little more, not so much as a potential threat. So when he said, I came up with Doodles because what kind of name is Doodles? So
Right, like he seems harmless, innocent, not like a strategizer
yes, yeah.
and a game master. Yeah, I think he was really afraid to come in as his honest self. So these four people receive the exit strategies, and outside the house, we learn that there are two Lamborghinis, one Corvette, and one McLaren, which, if they were to try to make an exit, they would be required to start up their car and then drive it to the end of the driveway to get out of the open gate if it's still open.
Yeah, so Simu, the host, explains that it's not just getting out of the house. As you also have to. There's a long driveway, and at the end of that driveway, there's a gate and a vehicle that actually has the cash in the car, and they have to get to that car and drive off in that car, and that's how they get out past the gate, the the driveway gate. If they get past that gate, then that's when they've officially escaped. And there's a car with all the money in it, and they can take that and go. And for the first episode here, they allow them, when they get out of the house, from the driveway to the end of the driveway, they they're required to take one of these cars that they've placed.
Which are very loud cars that should alert the folks inside that they are leaving, which makes this really hard to leave.
Yes, and then also to explain that if somebody sees somebody escaping, there's at the top of the house there's a balcony, and they can pull the alarm. There's an alarm up there that they can trigger, which then someone in the house needs to go to the front the parlor of the house, and hit the red button to officially close the gate, the driveway gate, which then locks the player out, and they're stuck in the house, and they lose the chance to win that money.
Well, we will see how the exits go for those that chose to exit. So Spencer is very inquisitive. He really wants to know who has the exit strategies. And he asks Kim what her clue is. And Kim's trying to play it off, but she does confide in Athena V about her exit strategy, and she trusts her. And Kim's plan is to get under her comforter and crawl to the driveway.
Yeah, because she has this great comforter, and she thinks she says, hopefully it'll be the same color that of the driveway, and that I'll be able to camouflage my way into the vehicle. Which, meanwhile, this driveway is like a two-tone gray concrete slab, so the one shade of it looks like it could match, but the other shade is much lighter than what the comforter even looks like. So I don't know. It's like a very far-fetched plan of hers to do. Yeah, so she freaks out that Spencer knows she had the strategy and is going to leave, so she just shouts throughout the house, hit the button, because Spencer's going to try to get out.
Wait,
And
so you can get out? Anyone can get out?
yeah.
I thought we established that you had to be one of the people who given the ticket to get out. This is anyone can jump the window.
Yeah, that's what I was explaining about the camping at the window. Theoretically, they
Well,
could do that.
didn't we say they had to have the exit?
Anyone can go through it as long as it's as long as it's that exit that opens up. They can't go through some other way, but
Okay, so Kim got freaked out that Spencer was going to steal her exit because he was just waiting by the window.
right, because he kept snooping around her room while she was talking about her plans, so she figured he knew that it was her, and she just freaked out. She just was too scared to even try to do the exit and didn't want him to get away. So she just kind of exposed herself and just shut down her opportunity to get out.
And by screaming to hit the button, then Spencer's plan was ruined to try to escape.
Right.
Well, that was Kim's big escape. And then next we have Rob. His time comes up, and we learn that he's a police sergeant. He could really use the money. This is how he handles his escape. He gathers everybody together in the living room and tells them that he has the key to the Lamborghini and that he's not taking it. And he's saying this to show his loyalty to the team.
Yeah. So I think this was a very good, smart move going, because at the beginning, I mean, I think his thing was like 112, 115,000 when his gate would open. But yeah, I think he just ultimately wants to be able to either he's going to go ahead and play trustworthy now and wait for the next opportunity when the money's a lot higher, and then maybe he'll make an escape, which I would think is a better strategy long term, because I think it's just too early to try now, and then you don't really want to make enemies and have no one trust you out of the get-go. I think it's going to make yourself a lot more difficult to be able to escape later down the road.
I think he definitely played this the best. Like you said, the cars are super loud. The chances of you getting caught are very high. There's a really long driveway that you have to drive all the way down to be able to escape. By that time, someone's bound to figure you out. It's not good for chances of success with at this time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more opportunities that will happen down the road, and he'll be able to put an execution in place that is much more effective than what the current opportunity gives.
But this does show people like, oh, he's so nice. He's so
right, and he gets on
loyal.
everyone's good side in the beginning too, so people would probably trust him going down the road. So
He seems sincere. Susan got emotional about this.
yeah, I mean, she hugs him. She like starts crying. I mean, which I do think. I don't think he. I mean, he hasn't shown yet, right? But I would say
doesn't
he feels
seem
very
like-
genuine about
yeah.
this. It doesn't even feel like he's trying to
Malicious.
play a long
Yeah.
game, or even just be sneakily for something later down the road. But
He does truly seem genuine, but this was a pretty good play if it was
right,
a play.
yeah,
That's the way it should be done.
I think he's
because-
playing more. He would play basically to the end to let everyone get the equal share and go.
Yeah, I think so too. But like if you were on this show, that'd probably be the best way to play the first night. Because you know you're probably not getting out of here with the money anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be a bad choice to blow your cover, because I just think the chances are very slim of getting out day one.
Well, someone who's not impressed by his statement is Spencer. And he says, what a waste of time and energy this is with these fake friendships.
Yeah, he's not a fan. And then we see Steve H really contemplating, because he has a chance to escape, and then he's like, well, now I'm just going to look like a jerk if I don't come up and do the same thing.
Yeah, he is sweating bullets because he's like, oh no, I have to go right after this like compassionate, kind guy. Just bared his soul to everybody.
Yeah, and then he decides to go ahead and just try to take the money, because he's
No, but first, this is the most ridiculous thing that happened. He goes around to people of the house and tells them that he was disqualified.
But yeah, so he's sitting on this couch and people ask him what's going on and I, I don't understand. I mean, he says in like a talking head, he's like, I don't know what it was just the first thing that came to my mind to explain a story. But yeah, he says he looked at one of the producers' watches and saw the time, and they said, "Oh, because you saw the time, you're getting DQ'd." Which the other thing that doesn't make any sense is if you were DQ'd, why why are you even still there? You would have been walked off the set, and the one of the producers probably would have said, "Sorry, but Steve H got disqualified or something."
Well, he's not disqualified forever in his lie, just disqualified for 24 hours or something from
Oh,
participating. I don't know. It was a really fishy, weird lie
yeah, I don't
that
know. The
didn't
whole
make
thing
any
was just
sense.
strange. But then Omarissa really believes
I
him,
was shocked
and
that she believed this so much. She's like, wow.
yeah, I was shocked that so many people bought this, and they were very perplexed by this. But then his time comes, and the window opens, and he gets out, and he gets into so he gets the Corvette, and he gets out, and then he's in his head, he's like, I'm so nervous, I'm shaking, I don't even know how I'm gonna drive this thing to get out, and
It took him a little while to start it up. He's like, I don't know how to start this up.
yeah, which I didn't get that, but
So Steve is caught, and the crew inside, they hit the button and they close the gate in time for his car not to go past it. And then he has to walk all the way back up the long driveway. And the most humiliating, embarrassing part is he has to walk himself inside. He has to go talk to the big group and talk about what a shady character he just was, jumping out the window, getting in the car, trying to take all the money for himself. And this comes right after Rob's heart bearing speech about loyalty. So it puts him in a terrible position because now he has to go inside and apologize to everybody and actually mean it.
yeah, and this is I was kind of he's done the opposite of what what Rob's done. Now I feel like he's created enemies out of everyone, and no one's really going to trust him. I mean, he may be able to try to form an alliance with somebody to help him, but majority of the people are going to be
Not
very
trust him.
suspicious of his
Yeah.
motives at this point.
So among the disappointed is Omarosa, and she's pretty upset because she really believed his story about being disqualified. So she can't believe she was tricked. She doesn't like this at all. And Spencer also makes a comment that he is shocked of how good of a liar Steve is.
Yeah, I mean, he fooled quite a few people there. Was so yeah. I mean, he's got the snake oil salesman in him.
Sneaky, sneaky Steve. So he knows not everyone is going to forgive him, but right now, he's just in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing damage control at this point, and yeah, it's just I think he's just gonna have to wait a little bit, wait a couple, episodes in our time before people will forget, or they'll find somebody else will do something, and then all eyes will be pointed on them, and then he'll be able to probably create some opportunities.
Moving on to Doodles and his escape. So at this point, we learn that he made up his occupation and his name. And he did this because he thought people wouldn't trust him. And it has worked. Like, he has made himself seem like this innocent, joyful character who's just bopping around the house and doesn't have a sly bone in his body. And he is up at the watchtower and he volunteers to hold down the fort, give people a break, and keep watch right before his time. So then he becomes obsessed with trying to keep up with what time it is or what money amount the clock is at. And he goes up and down the stairs to keep watch on the clock constantly. And then he makes his escape. So he's just going for it all by himself.
Yeah, so this I mean, his strategies are not bad. One, I mean, obviously, this is probably where people are start learning how to play the game more effectively and whatnot. But they only have one person on the watchtower to scan the whole time, which I, would think at the beginning, hey, that's kind of strange because something like this could happen, and I'm sure this will probably change after this because he's able to kind of smooth talk them to being, hey, I'll watch the tower and
Like, you go ahead and eat. I'll watch while you eat.
right, and then so because his whole plan is to get no one on the watchtower so that he can get in the car and get out.
His exit came at a good time because most everybody was gathered in the kitchen making food and chatting and eating, so they were distracted.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this is probably around breakfast time or something. Which this is actually the other interesting thing too is that they really don't know when a strategy is going to open up. So even through the night, it could happen. So
You have to have people constantly looking out then.
yeah, I mean, it's almost this 24/7 hour duty that you've got to pay attention to with this. So this is kind of it'll be interesting as it progresses if people end up falling asleep on the job or what happens with that. But
Right.
so he sneaks out into the Lamborghini, and it looks like, at least from the editing perspective, as once he turns it on, Spencer actually catches on, and he must have probably heard it turn on while they're in the kitchen. And he's saying someone escapes, so you see Doodles peeling out in the driveway of the car, and then everyone's running to the button to try to stop him. Well, they don't know it's Doodles; they just know someone's escaped, but they're rushing to stop whoever it is, and we see the end of the first episode. So we have a cliffhanger,
Dun dun dun. Are they going to catch him?
which I think he's going to get caught because I can't imagine they would have let someone escape on the first day.
Well, also, it seemed pretty fast that they caught on and they probably just heard the car, even though they were distracted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know in relation where the kitchen is to the parlor in the house, but I don't think it's that far. And I would imagine someone being able to run to that button is sooner than where they're going to be able to, then he's going to be able to drive out the gate because it does look like it's a winding driveway. It's not just like this short little straight thing that a Lamborghini can go 0 to 60 in and
It'll
instantly.
take a while. Yeah.
I'm almost shocked. They must have had some rules around the vehicle as well or something. I mean, right, for TV, but I'm sure they obviously rented these cars, but I would almost, if I were to take one, I would almost like forget because it's just a constant squiggly. It's just a constant, left to right traverse for the driveway. But I'd almost just tail it through the yard. I mean, they probably couldn't have.
Through the
But
trees.
yeah, well, there's not that many for the driveway part. But it'd be faster than you doing all the left and rights constantly, because that's the whole point of those is it prevents the car from being able to even perform great.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause
sure
they
that's
can't.
why they picked those.
Well, I think it's just in addition to the whole thing, but anyway, so yeah, I can't imagine there's any way he's gonna actually get out.
Well, also, you said you saw a thumbnail with his picture on it again or something.
Well, yeah, and full disclosure, there, when we backed out, I don't even try my eye, I just happened to pick it up, but
And we started that at the beginning of this episode saying we will not have spoilers.
yeah, I know. We like get away. I mean, maybe, but I would imagine if they get the money and they leave, or if they get the money, then they have to leave. It's not like they could.
I said,
keep
what if they come
stacking
back?
up
You
the
don't
money.
know. So maybe we don't have any spoilers.
Maybe it's possible.
We don't have any direct spoilers. We
Right.
just have a picture.
You're right. There hasn't been a rule that stated like once you get the money, you're gone. I just am assuming that they haven't actually said that yet. But yeah, maybe he does actually get it. But
I think he just gets caught immediately.
yeah, I would lean towards he's getting caught.
That's the
And,
most realistic thing that happened.
Yeah. But we will find out next week.
Yeah, so next week we will be reviewing episode 2 to find out what happens next.
Yes, but yeah, overall, I like the series so far because I think it, there's a lot of different elements in it that will make it, I think, pretty interesting to watch. And yeah, I think the concept as a whole is quite cool. So
Yeah, I really like the concept of the show. I like the people that they pick to be on the show. I think it's an eclectic bunch, and it's a break from reality love TV, but it is fun to watch. So far, it's different.
yeah, yeah, I think it'll be good going forward.
But it is interesting. They could all just make a pact. Hey, let's have none of us escape and we can all get $50,000.
I mean, I think that's at the heart of what the experiment of this is really is. Will everyone just be happy going home equally, or is someone going to try to be greedy and take more of the pot?
Right.
And obviously, we will probably see that.
And you can't trust everybody.
Yes. Not all of them are Robs out there.
Yeah.
If
Not
they
all
had
of
20
them.
Robs, then, but then it'd also be a pretty boring show because it would just
No,
be
that's true.
them just hanging out like friends in a house for however many days, and
No
until
one
they hit
scheming.
the
No one backstabbing.
yeah. It'd just be like, I guess, like basically like the Big Brother TV show or something at that point.
They need a mixture of Robs and Steves.
But I'm sure too they're gonna make it where they're gonna they're gonna get an exit strategy or something that where they're gonna get a better edge, I think, versus just getting a very loud car that gives your position away as soon as you've escaped.
Yeah.
Something that'll be more enticing to do it, and that'll be a little more because I mean it wasn't even just like, oh, you get in the car and then it's just like, oh, can they get to the button in time? But where it'll be interesting to see they get out, they'll have to maybe sneak around in the yard for a while,
Yeah, I
or how
bet
they'll
it'll be like sneak through and try not to hit these trigger points or something.
or see who's been non-identified in the last 20 minutes or something, and they realize someone's outside or something because they see the windows open or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think uh, the ways that they will.
I bet it's going to be kind of like that challenge that some of these shows do where you have to like go under ropes and your head can't hit the rope or else an alarm will go off, or like you have to be very careful about what you're doing out there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they may force them to take certain routes when they get out.
That could be a thing.
I mean, they already did that with this one because were forced to take the car, but where others will be, you've got to take the back wooded way through, a bunch of laser traps or something.
Well, remember you said if I were on this and I would just choose to not take the car, I would just walk down into the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And I was like, I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Well, yeah, because the host said, you may use the key to get in the car to escape it, and then later on he says, you have to or whatever. I don't know. The way he worded it was just confusing originally because I was like, why would anyone take the car? I mean, it's loud as anything. They'll know immediately once you turn the thing on. So there's no even stealth to it. I mean, you're stealthy from the window to the car, and that's it. But outside of that, you're just gonna know immediately.
That's the point. I think it was to just make this option look as unattractive as possible.
Right. Yeah, and it gets people out and people hit the button,
But still,
and
they knew
creating
people
the
would
alarm.
take it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, I think
Just the mere chance of 100K.
right is some people are going to jump on that. So yeah, I would. I mean, it was a good way to incentivize it, and like as the first episode to just get the game flowing and people understanding how it plays and whatnot. So no, I think it was a good way to open it up.
What was your favorite exit strategy? Steve, Rob, Kim, or Doodles?
I mean, Doodles is the most clever. I would have almost. The only thing I would have maybe done differently. Well, actually, I guess I take that back because actually it didn't even make a difference. I was gonna say was maybe even make friends with, forget who he was talking to on the rooftop, but say, hey, I've got a thing, we're gonna escape. Like, don't pull the alarm on me. And
How would she stop people from pulling the alarm?
well, because there's only the one alarm at the top. There's the red button in the parlor, but there's no other alarms, I don't think. Or maybe there is, but they only showed the one on the balcony. So
She could have like locked the door or barricaded the. Well, he could have done that. Okay, maybe he should have done this to where he completely blocked the entrance to hit the.
I don't think you can do that. That's probably cheating. Well, we saw a snippet. There's in part of the whole previews in the opening of the episode where like I think it was Spencer blocking the button or something. I guess he gets in cahoots with somebody down the road where he tries to block the button and Omarissa or somebody was yelling at him saying you can't do that. That's cheating or something.
Yeah, what are the rules?
I mean, they haven't really explained all of the rules yet. I'm sure they'll maybe try to explain them as like the incident arises, but I mean, you can't. Yeah, I can imagine you can't barricade the door to the button. I mean, that would be.
Okay, so then go back to Doodles being in cahoots.
I mean,
with
I guess it doesn't
somebody
make
else.
sense at the end of the day because him turning on the car alerted everybody else in the house. So even
The only thing that someone on his side could do is like block the.
right,
thing.
I guess there really wasn't. I mean, I thought because I kind of thought someone would go back up top and see him move, but no one did. But yeah, I mean,
They just heard him.
it really didn't matter because as soon as he turned the car on, that's when people found out. So
Yeah, it's like you when you used to start the Corvette up in the morning.
yeah,
People could hear you from miles.
it's yeah, you gotta let them know.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to see what will happen.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be a good show. So we will see what happens next week.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yes, we hope you'll tune in to Got to Get Out with us and check us out on social media if you haven't, and like and subscribe if you like it.
That's right. Please leave us a comment, like and subscribe, and we hope you watch Got to Get Out and join us for the recaps.
We'll see you then.
Bye.